Welcome to the 5th episode of the SyncUp. Experience marketing is the new norm. On this episode, we have our host, Michael Martocci, meet with Ben Jablow, VP Alliance at Postal. As marketing and sales gets more competitive, it takes a lot more to stand out these days. That's where Postal comes in, an experienced marketing platform helping marketers incorporate some personalized gifts and some swag at scale. Ben discusses the making of Postal and announces their new partnership with SwagUp.
Let's jump into it. It's 12:08. We got about 20 people in the group, and we're recording this too, so we'll share it with everybody afterwards too. But first off, thanks for joining us. This is the 5th episode. It's my favorite number, 5, so it's a lucky one. I've only done, this is my second one. We had Helen and Wade and Artem do some of the other ones on our team, but I think it's really cool to, one, be able to showcase the stories of the people that we work with, both customers and partners, and to do it like in this live interactive environment where we can get some questions and engagement as well. I think it'll be exciting. And I think the stuff that, we're doing together from a partnership perspective is really unique and some stuff that hasn't been done before. So I think, especially for people that are in marketing and sales, and a lot of our clients specifically will get a ton of value out of it. So
great. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So first off, I guess let's give people a little bit of a background. So you run what you guys call alliances or partnerships at Postal. So first off, what is Postal? And then what exactly does alliances and partnerships mean for you guys? Like, what are you doing on a day-to-day?
Yeah. So Postal is an experience marketing platform. What that means is we've built automation tooling that's relevant for sales and marketing teams to send offline items easily, efficiently, effectively, and again, in a really automated way. VP of Alliances, what does that mean? In our world, that means anything that has to do with partnerships. So that might be working with agencies, that might mean referral partnerships, that might mean vendor partnerships. One of the things that we do that's a little unique is all of the products that we offer within our marketplace. They're all offered by partnered vendors. We don't handle logistics. We don't do any warehousing. We don't want to do any of that. We want to connect awesome companies with our clients. Yep. So it's building out processes around all of those things, as well as developing the relationships for our integration partners, making sure that we work cleanly with and effectively with SalesLoft, with Outreach, with HubSpot, with Salesforce, so on and so forth.
Gotcha. So you don't want to deal with the pain in the ass of a warehouse and fulfillment center like us?
Yeah, we're gonna let you handle all the warehousing and all the logistics. Oh, we're gonna sit back and send you clients.
What an interesting business that is. It's very difficult. The logistics part of running warehouses and building that up from scratch and building out systems and technology for it. It's so crazy. But when you do it well, it does become a really good strength and something to have like in your toolkit of resources when you run it yourself, because there's so many companies that rely on like 3PLs and having that out of your control is like an e-com brand is tough. And then for people that don't know what SwagUp is, I mean, some of you guys have joined because you're customers of ours, but also for people that came in from Postal or just came in randomly through the internet. So basically, SwagUp started as just a company trying to make it simple for startups to buy swag, high quality items, whether it's for new hires or employee or for customers or prospects, anything like that. And what we realized over time was that this industry is huge. It's a $30 billion industry, and it lacks technology. There's no way to easily integrate into the supply chain. There's no way to easily integrate into partners like Postal or to your HRIS systems or your CRMs and stuff like that. So we really just wanted to own the infrastructure and supply chain around creating and distributing high quality swag. We have our own end users that utilize our platform for creating the items and sending them out, but we also integrate with a lot of partners such as Postal that allow you to get more specialized and integrated in the sense of utilizing it for sales and marketing cadences, integrating it to Outreach and SalesLoft and Salesforce and all those types of things. So I'm just trying to make this kind of really messy, opaque industry and streamline it into one single platform and one single API that can easily connect into different workflows that you have. So there's a really good synergies and really great partnership between what Postal, what you guys are doing and what we're doing, which I think is different than how some other people are doing it. So I guess when you had reached out to us about maybe 5 months ago now, at this point, kind of what was the impetus for finding a Swag partner, and why was SwagUp kind of the one that you wanted to work with? What were you guys thinking at the time?
Yeah. The impetus for having a Swag partner was based on what I discussed earlier. You guys know this business as well as anybody. We don't. We could have built up a warehouse. We could have built up a logistics process, but it would have taken us years and would have taken us a lot of people. So I was tasked with going out there and finding kind of the best of breed partner. And so when I was looking at the different options that were available, a lot of the companies that I came across, to your point earlier, Michael, were built kind of with the warehouse and kind of the old school mentality. They were built first with that in mind. So the idea that you ship a bunch of products to a company, the company stores it in their marketing closet, and then they, FedEx it to whoever needs it, or they bring it to an event. But they were kind of built with that mentality. What attracted me to you all is the API-led development, the ability for you to the extensibility of your platform, the ability to extend that platform in a way that a lot of other companies can't or haven't figured out yet. And so as we talk about how to automate processes for clients, that to me was a no-brainer.
Yeah, to your point, the traditional vendors, I feel like they take a scarcity versus abundance mindset. They're very much we own these clients. We're very, we have our salespeople. We're just buy and sell swag. We're distributors, and it's a very traditional type of engagement. Whereas we've always thought of it as much more let's just be open. We want to be the supply chain and supply partner for the entire market and the entire industry, and we'll have partners. And we're more of a growth-minded type company versus we have to own these relationships and do everything with every one of these companies. So that allows us to engage in these types of partnerships where another company might be more, sheltered or closed off in those sense. And what's funny is you talk about the API first kind of mentality. When we started this company, I don't even think I could tell you what an API stood for. I had no idea. It wasn't the intention going out. But we got really fortunate where we have an amazing CTO that we brought in about 18 months in, and up to that point we're very much traditional agency style. And then 18 months in, he comes in and really architects the business from the ground up to scale and also to be integrated in that sense, and built everything through microservices and APIs. And our platform is literally an extension of our API. Everything is API calls and stuff. So, and then I've learned over time, the importance of that, and we've really re-architected our business around leading with it, and it's been awesome because it also allows us to not only for a company like you guys to integrate with us from a supply standpoint, but for us to integrate with a company like you guys as well to offer a ton of benefit to our clients, to give people, companies that are coming in to work with SwagUp, this whole toolkit of ways that they can utilize their inventory and their items that we make it really easy to create, and then utilize them in different ways. You guys have really done a great job of building out, the whole marketing and sales optimization of utilizing physical items, being able to build out those cadences and what you guys call playbooks in a way that our platform just isn't set up for. Because at the end of the day, we're kind of agnostic to who we work with. We kind of own that infrastructure layer, but then we have partners like you guys that can then specialize and take what we do and make it really awesome and package it up for sales and marketing. So I think it was a really synergistic partnership in that sense.
Yeah, no question. And I'm sure that API kind of led development gave you guys a huge leg up when everyone started working remotely, right? Again, companies had to change the way that they do business, but my hunch is, and I've talked to a few companies that said as much to me, a lot of the companies that are developing branded items and swag, it was really difficult for them to adapt to this new environment.
Oh yeah, I mean, we have plenty. There's so many companies we've worked with over time that, especially over these last 6 months, they have storage closets filled with swag. They have They had all this stuff and they're like, I don't know what to do. I can't utilize this anymore. I have no way of integrating these into, new hire programs or to sales and marketing flows. Like it's just useless, so they're starting to recognize the need for platforms like, like Postal and like SwagUp to be able to kind of manage this offsite in the cloud. So yeah, I mean, it's been huge. We can jump into that in a second. So you talk about Postal being an experience marketing platform. So, it's kind of a new term. Like, how do you guys define that? And piggybacking off the point you just made, like, why is that important in, a 2020 world and like beyond?
Yeah. So, there are automation platforms that have done an amazing job automating kind of, your emails, your LinkedIn connections, when to make a phone call, giving you different tools that are available, whether it's via a workflow or a cadence or a sequence. We want to provide a true marketing experience that kind of crosses channels. So the idea of receiving a handwritten note, a gift, swag, the ability to kind of really feeling a tangible item is something that we're laser focused on. So we want to provide those experiences. And frankly, we want to do it in the places where you're already adding automation. Again, whether that's a Salesloft, whether that's an Outreach, whether that's a HubSpot, a Salesforce. That's why we want to integrate with those sites so that you can easily add the ability to send a tangible good in addition to what you're already doing via email or LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think, everybody who's on this call was in marketing and sales. Like, gifting's not a new thing. I mean, gifting's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, since the beginning of mankind, but especially as a business tool. I mean, every small business over the last 200 years has given gift baskets out to people in the holidays, and they send something to people that just signed on. I mean, my girlfriend, her mom, and her husband were business partners together, and he was an actuarial accountant, and basically she would go out in the morning and build out these baskets by hand, and then go drive them to each of the clients that they had just onboarded, like one by one, very manually. So the power of gifting has been around forever, and people recognize how amazing it is. But I think what you guys are filling in and what's happening now in 2020 and beyond is like, how do you do that in a scalable way that's automated, that's trackable, where you have metrics, where you can roll this out in the same way that you would roll out a digital marketing campaign or a social media campaign or anything like that. There hasn't really been a tool or a way to really do that easily at scale and repeat that across. If you're a SaaS company that has 50,000 users or 10,000 users, trying to run those at scale would be impossible with the tools that were around. I think that's really the distinction.
Yeah, totally. And it's also marrying, like the example that you gave a second ago is a really awesome example. Like building these personalized or customized gift baskets is so cool. And it's such everyone appreciates that when they get that. That's just not terribly scalable. Yeah. Kind of on the other side of that, before I started working at Postal, I had talked to our CEO co-founder Eric and Jed about potentially coming over to Postal. And I was the CRO of a startup in the Chicago area. And I read a LinkedIn post. I was thinking about making the move. I read a LinkedIn post by one of the marketing leaders at G2. And he was talking about, this was over the holidays. And he was talking about how he took a little vacation with his family, and then he came back around Christmas time. And he got to the office, and, his clients had sent him cookies, and they sent him, a branded mug, maybe with the company's name, just a bunch of these things that weren't necessarily, there wasn't a lot of thought. Maybe it was, hey, let's send something to our top 50 clients. Let's send them all the exact same thing. And it just, he posted about how this was impersonal and how it's, things are moving towards personalization. And so I started thinking about how we can add that type of personalization or customization in a really scalable way to an automated platform. And those are the type of things that we're trying to think about now is, how do we kind of marry the two, automation with some customization, some personalization in a scalable way that provides everyone an experience? And that goes back to that kind of that experience marketing.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's huge. I mean, there's things you have to sacrifice on both sides, both the scalability and personalization. But as I think your platform evolves, and even as we evolve, we can get closer and closer to that sort of like mass scale personalization and automation at the same time, because it is hugely beneficial. I mean, with Swag, it's a little bit more challenging because of the custom nature of it. But there's always elements of personalization that you can throw in there, like laser engraving the employee's name on there, or the prospect, the insert card in there with handwritten messages. Like we try to layer in those types of levels of personalization as well, because they do have that much more of an impact. Like people recognize the value and they see the work that went into it, and it just feels that much more impactful. I mean, we're working with a ton of we do a lot of work on like the new hire and employee and like internal branding type side of things, and just companies are trying to figure out, how do I, even internally, not even sales and marketing, but how do I maintain that level of personalization and customization for our new hires that are starting remotely, that are in the middle, they might be in Kansas and then in their apartment, and they're not able to go into the office, and they might have been hired by Comcast in Philadelphia and they can't even go to Comcast in Philadelphia to start, and it's just a whole different experience. So how can they make that personalized? And it's the same thing from a sales and marketing perspective. You have these people that are not in the office, that maybe they're down on energy. Like if you can get them something to their home that feels personalized and customized, like that could be the pick me up for their entire week. That, wow, like this company took the time to understand me. They sent me this gift. It's a very captive audience right now. It doesn't take a lot to go a long way, I think, right now in this environment.
Yeah. And those first 30 days of a new employee starting with the company are so critical. We've started to do that internally, by the way. We've sent the SwagUp swag packs to every new hire. We had a guy start this past week, and so he was the first one to receive the new hire swag pack. I haven't gotten feedback from him, but I'll make sure that I share it with you when I do.
Yeah, no, we love to see it. The best is when you have these big Zoom meetings and it looks like the Brady Bunch and they all have the swag box. So that's a good transition, though. I want to go into kind of different use cases you're seeing, like B2B marketers and salespeople utilizing the platform for. Like, for example, we use physical items too in a different way, kind of like as a crisis management type thing. If something goes wrong, sometimes we're sending out, from a customer experience standpoint, some sort of personalized gifts to say, like, hey, like we recognize that this didn't go exactly how you planned. We're sending you this, like, let's keep the conversation going in. And we found that to be very effective to kind of cement that relationship in times of, hardship, because sometimes, that happens. No matter, every scaling company, you run into some bumps along the road, and it can be really helpful in that sense. But, how are you seeing different, clients that you guys are working with now, utilizing the platform? What are some, maybe ROI of utilizing some interesting figures? And then we can jump into a demo at some point also to show people like how it actually works.
Yeah, we see a few different standard use cases. I would say there are 4 use cases that we see more than any others, and there are a bunch of outliers, but the 4 kind of primary use cases we see: marketers with current customers, top of funnel stuff too. So, depending how the company is set up, we see some ABM campaigns that utilize gifting and direct mail. But we see them targeting a lot of current clients, right? How do you stand out a little bit with your current clients? How do you get in front of them in unique ways? We see prospecting on the sales side, right? How do you kind of separate yourself from the standard workflows or the emails that everybody, you as a CEO, you probably get hit with 20 of these a day.
The most is the outsourced development agencies.
Yeah, exactly.
I get 12 of those every day.
Yeah, I do too. LinkedIn and direct over email. But so, how do you kind of stand out while you're trying to attract yourself in a different way to prospects? And then there's success. Companies have started to build out success groups and started to emphasize different techniques and tactics that success teams can use to increase overall total contract value. And
I,
so we
I think success is a huge use case. Like, because for me, the thing I've always said about swag is that, a lot of the traditional swag companies have always focused on like, high volume, low cost, kind of crappy swag, give out at giveaways and, at trade shows and stuff like, and it's thought of as like an impression, like, okay, I'll give this 50-cent item out. Hopefully they book a meeting. And they're obviously if the metrics make sense, they make sense. But I have always thought of like swag being incredibly useful for the people that already care about the brand, because there's other things you can give people that, if they're prospects in the funnel and stuff. But for me, it's like, when you go to Harvard or you go to Stanford and you just got accepted at those types of schools, or you went to, I think, Booth, right, in Chicago, like you were probably super excited that you got into that school, that's the school you always wanted to go to. And then one of the first things you do is you go to the bookstore and you get the sweatshirt, and because you want to wear it, you're proud of it. You want to show it off. You want to show everybody that you just got accepted. And I think of it very similar with like branded merchandise. It's like you're either choosing to work with that company because you really like that company, right? Because right now there's a startup for everything. There's probably 5 startups for everything. You can, consumers have a choice as to who they want to work with, and employees have a choice as to like where they want to work now. The balance of power has kind of shifted a lot in that sense. So, but the types of companies you end up working with or working for are personal choices because you relate to that company, you care about that company in some way. And the swag is kind of like this like bond between you and the company and you and the other people there, whether you're a client of the company or you're an employee there. So I've always felt that swag has the biggest impact when you're giving it to people that already care about the brand, versus just like randomly to random people. They have to have some sort of affiliation, or else the swag doesn't mean as much to them.
Yeah, that's totally right. And then the last use case that you mentioned earlier is that employee to employee, which is again in this really strange time that we're currently living in. It's a huge thing, right? To give a different type of experience that you didn't really have to worry about before, that you do have to worry about now. And again, you can do it in a way where your employees, to your point a second ago, they really start to appreciate the brand, they appreciate the experience, and they start thinking about it in a very different way, which is great.
And they become advocates. Like, the biggest, one of the hardest things at scale for a startup is hiring and recruiting. The biggest source of recruiting, inbound candidates that we get is from the people here. They're telling other people about, they love working at this company. It's a great spot. Like, you should join. And it becomes a huge inbound lead flow of recruits and people to join the company. And obviously there's a lot of things that go into culture building, but these types of experiences, like we send gifts and cookies and stuff to employees of the week as well. Like it's all part of it, but you can't do that at scale because you can't hire an EA or an HR person to be doing every little one of these things, at scale. It becomes so difficult. So having platforms and like yours to do that at scale is huge. I would love to run into like what does the platform actually look like? If you have a second, like how do you actually set up one of these triggers and playbooks? And because like I said from the beginning, I think one of the things is like you guys make it really user friendly and intuitive for anybody at the company to kind of set these up. So I think it'd be valuable for the audience to kind of check them out and see how it actually works.
Let me share my screen with you and we'll jump in. So this is an example, or this is our marketplace. And our marketplace is available to admins that are clients to curate their own kind of company store. So they can take any of the items that are in the marketplace, save them, kind of customize them, and then all the employees then have access to their own little store that we call Postals. So you go in and curate in the marketplace, and then they become available in Postals. And so let me show you a few different,
like your product catalog, like your approved kind of products that you guys use to send, and now you can then take them to integrate them into different triggers and campaigns.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we have in our swag section, our own personal swag section, we have our own little personal Postal.io swag pack that we're sending to clients, that we're sending to prospects, that we're sending to, again, new hires. You guys have done an amazing job, adding, specific, you can kind of see our little box here, but it's all branded Postal. And
you
it looks
see
amazing.
What's coming up with we're working on some AI, some stuff with design with AI. Not to spill too much secrets before people start killing me on our team, but to basically automate this process fully. It's going to be really amazing.
Cool. Can't wait to see it. But so, we have integrations, as I mentioned, with a handful of CRMs, a handful of marketing automation platforms, sales engagement platforms. And so we've really made the ability to send to your users super simple. The three kind of main tactics that we use from an automation standpoint are playbooks, triggers, and magic links. And I'll kind of explain quickly what each of those are and show you a little demo. Playbooks are your old-fashioned is probably the wrong word, but your drip campaign, right? You might call them sequences or cadences or workflows, depending on what site you're using. But you can set up on our site, just with any of the products that you have available in your postals, you can set up a new customer playbook that contains different steps based on days. Day 1, send a welcome letter. Day 5, send a swag pack. Day 10, send a bottle of wine. You can set it up, based on any cadence that you'd like. And you can add new people to that playbook over time. You don't have to start everyone at the same time. So it's, you talk about nurture campaigns. This is a great way to do it with offline items.
You love sports, obviously. Did you have a say in naming this playbooks, or are you not involved in that conversation?
I don't think I did. It's so funny. We work again closely with SalesLoft, with Outreach, with HubSpot, and I feel like every time I talk about playbooks, I have to say, you might know them as workflows, you might know them as cadences, you might know them as sequences. But I do love the name playbook. I am huge sports fan.
There's a value in owning a term. You want it to be unique to you guys. So then you can track kind of like on an ongoing basis, like, that these things sent out, or like the impact they had, or who they went to, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, so, we're looking at Champagne. You can see the latest deliveries for the Champagne. This is an older campaign, but you can see that they were delivered on July 1. And if there's an issue with alcohol delivery, it's super, the laws are different on a state by state basis. So if somebody is sent a bottle of wine and they live in Utah, it's going to error out, and we're going to have to replace it with something else. But so we see kind of the status. We have reporting. To your point earlier, Michael, we have our proprietary reporting that we call a cost per touch. And so you'll see that on all of our in all of our reporting metrics, whether you're looking at it as, from an individual standpoint based on a recipient, or you're looking at it based on a playbook.
Gotcha. That's awesome. And it's a good platform when you guys use it yourself internally. Like we use our platform to send out swag to new hires, and when we're doing like one-off like things for anniversaries, all that kind of stuff. So you guys are utilizing this yourselves for both, from a prospecting and demand gen side, but also internally.
Yeah, we use it a ton. Our sales reps are in here every day adding new things.
And you probably get so much feedback too about how to like adapt the platform and what to kind of evolve and which features need work, and gaps in there, right?
Yeah, every day, right? For better or for worse, right? A client says, "Hey, have you guys ever thought about doing this, or adding this functionality, or adding this piece of reporting, or being able to." Something that I think I talked to you guys about a few weeks ago was how you guys display shipping. I love that, right? And so within the last week, we've added the ability to track shipping on the platform with similar tooling.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, we've built the site in a really lean way as well. It allows us to make tweaks here and there very easily, to add upgrades to the platform quickly. And we talk to our clients a ton to make sure that they're getting value and to understand the feedback that would make the experience even better.
Yep. And then how does this kind of fit into just the overall like marketing and sales like tech stack? So like what do those integrations kind of look like, and how do the different systems kind of interplay with each other?
Let me show you an example of a really cool thing, really cool piece of automation. I'm gonna delete this. It just was showing somebody this on a call prior to our conversation. But
also, in the meantime, guys, if we're going to get into some questions in a little bit. So if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat for now, and we'll get to them in a few minutes.
Absolutely. All right. So this is called triggers, right? So we have the ability to build triggers. I'm going to put my name here as the name of the trigger so I can show you what it looks like. Currently, we have the ability to do this with SalesLoft Outreach and HubSpot. We'll have the ability to do this with Salesforce within a week or two. We're very close there. But so what this allows me to do is based on a specific action within, let's use HubSpot as the example. It allows me based on an action within HubSpot to automatically send something based on the activity within the CRM or the automation platform. So I created this trigger. You see that, and it says HubSpot here. I can now quickly go into HubSpot.
How do you like HubSpot? You guys use it as your CRM versus like a Salesforce?
We use Salesforce and HubSpot. I love HubSpot. I love them.
User friendly. I mean, just the UX of it in general is just a lot more user friendly.
And it marries kind of the CRM capabilities with the marketing automation capabilities, which is amazing.
It's a lot cheaper than like a Salesforce plus Pardot, right?
Yeah, and the ability to integrate with HubSpot is tremendous. You can set up integrations with HubSpot that really feel native. And I think that's amazing. I'll show you
Salesforce, where you just get like a little like window that's like floating on top of it and stuff.
Yeah, it's a little more difficult with Salesforce, right? And with some of the other companies, they haven't built out the capabilities that HubSpot has built out. They haven't built the APIs. They haven't built the functionality. And it just is a much kind of nicer experience for the user when they can access tools for companies they're using just natively in the app.
So there's a little workflow builder in there, and you can say, okay, the trigger being deal closed one, you want that to connect to then Postal, the trigger that you just created, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I did this earlier, but yeah, anytime a deal goes from prospect to close one, I can quickly go, I've integrated with Postal here. I can go to send Postal. I can find the trigger that I just created.
And they have that trigger looking like one of their own native triggers, like you're saying.
Yeah, that's exactly. Well, the integration looks native. It's simple, right? I mean, I can go into, so that was all it took to say anytime that a deal goes to closed, they're automatically going to get the swag pack.
Right. So if you set it up in Postal as a trigger for HubSpot, then it becomes one of the available options, I guess.
Yeah, you got it. Gotcha. Right. And then I can also go in here and again, to the point of that it looks native. I know Matt, so I can click on Matt Molinari here. And you'll see a little, they call this a CRM card, but I can go in here and let's just say I want to send something to Matt quickly. So you
can also do it manually.
Yeah, I can go in here and natively just go in here and quickly send him a Postal.
Is the goal one day also to have like a flexible API where people can build this into anything they want, or is that on the roadmap? Or?
Yeah, no, it is. We'll have external facing APIs. We don't have them yet. We'll have a Zapier integration, but yes, we want to be able to allow companies to integrate with us no matter what the workflow is.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome. It's so simple. Like, even setting up like a Zap on Zapier could be more difficult than that. Like that was pretty foolproof.
Yeah. so easy, right? And one of the things that is a little bit of a struggle with Sales Loft and with outreach is you can integrate, but you basically have to then send the item manually, right? It pops up on your screen and it says you need to go do this, and there's integrations that make
it type thing.
Yeah. And so what the triggers allow us to do is say after step 3, when step 3 is complete, automatically do this for step 4.
Yeah. And that's actually scalable, like across the organization, across thousands of leads and thousands of companies that you're working with. It's you actually can make it happen without having to babysit it every day.
Yeah, totally right.
You can actually go on vacation and then keep doing it.
Right. You can go out and play some golf, which you and I need to do.
I feel like we talk more about golf on conference calls than we do about work.
Yeah, well, I'm on the phone with my team, and my team, I'm talking to my team daily for hours. Tara's on this call. She can verify that, but I can't talk golf with them. You're the only one I talk to on a routine basis who I can talk golf with.
Yeah.
Well, let me show you this real quick.
Awesome.
This is one last thing that I want to show you. It's in beta. We've launched it for our company, and we'll launch it to the public within a week. We're calling it a magic link, but basically you can go in and create a link that can be sent by email, sent via text, sent on a chat like this. And you can set a limit for the quantity that can be redeemed. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You just go to save, and I'll show you an example of one here. This is what I did for a roundtable yesterday, but you just have a link, copy it. You can paste it anywhere. I pasted it in the Zoom yesterday, and then anyone can go in and just add their email address and redeem the link in seconds. So it's a really cool thing that you can do for a swag pack. You can do with any product that we have in our marketplace.
Gotcha. And then will you allow like one day to be able to have that link available like in an email flow, for example, like where you can take that link and throw it into an email cadence and it becomes like automated in that sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you
work,
can.
Right? I guess you could just copy the link out and have it integrated into the copy.
Yeah, you can integrate it into the copy. You can send it via text. You can do it any way that you want. And again, you can control the cap in terms of the quantity. You can set an expiration date. It's just a kind of, you talk about extensibility. It's just a more kind of flexible way to send an item to somebody.
Gotcha. Sweet. No, you guys, and it's crazy because you really started maybe at this point, like 8 months ago, kind of. It's like this year, basically. It's been the first.
Yeah, we launched in March. We spent time on the platform prior to that, but we launched to the public in March. So yeah, it's been crazy, man. Launching during a pandemic is it's interesting, but it's
also like advantageous from a business model perspective because it's more in need probably now than ever, as you mentioned.
No question. And so, yeah, we're seeing, 2x growth, even more than that on a monthly basis. So it's been a wild ride.
Amazing. So what do you think, before we jump into the questions, like, over the next, 3 to 5 years, do you see this kind of continuing to play out and becoming, more and more of a thing? Or do you think it's just like, oh, the pandemic's here and, now we're just needed more than ever, but, it'll go back to normal? What are your thoughts?
I don't think things will ever go back to kind of the old normal. There'll be a new normal. But I think you're going to see distributed workforces here kind of for good. You're going to see companies saving a lot of money on office space just because they, feel like they don't need it anymore. I think the kind of where we'll be in a year or two is somewhere in the middle. I was talking to my team about what's lost by not being in an office with a bunch of different people or a bunch of coworkers and how communication's a little more difficult. But I think a tool like ours and a platform like ours that simplifies, makes things more efficient, is certainly here to stay. And it's only going to kind of, the need and the value is only going to grow.
Yeah, I think so. I've always said that, both our platform and yours, I feel like we grow the market, because like there's obviously, like we talked about, there's corporate gifting, there's swag, but there's this whole kind of latent demand and unpent up, pent up demand of people that wanted to do these types of campaigns. They want to get swag for all their employees. They want to send gifts to all their clients, but they didn't have a scalable means of doing it. And it always just felt like more of a pain in the ass than it was worth the benefit. And they just didn't have the manpower to do it. And now with like platforms like the ones that we're building, like they can do this at scale, and they can now, think of it as interchangeably as a digital marketing campaign. Like, oh, like we can put out, our assets here, we can put it into this, or we can spread it out across different campaigns. And now it becomes so much easier to kind of get off the ground. Like you guys always promote, like within 3 minutes, start sending something to people. Like that was never possible. So I think to your point, I think it's here to stay. And I think, you'll see these markets, and like, from an investment standpoint, like a TAM growing a ton in these markets because of like all this demand that people are now going to shift budgets over to like physical and experience marketing, as you guys are calling it.
Yeah. And you guys see this too, right? Like it's becoming strategic, right? People are looking at swag in a totally different way. They're looking at kind of branded items in a totally different way. They're not looking at it as, hey, let's just send these 50 things to our top 50 clients. They're getting more strategic about how they're doing it. And I think
it follows like consumer. I always think that B2B kind of follows B2C. And if you look at like consumer businesses and direct to consumer, they utilize branded merchandise and merch in general. Like, musicians, they use merch. Like it's huge. It's huge to build communities around their brands. And now you're seeing businesses doing it. They're building communities around their brands. They're being thoughtful about building out this like loyal follower base that will kind of adopt any product that they build. And if you see the tech model going forward is like platform based. Twilio started with call and voice and text, and now it's becoming a platform for all consumer interaction, like interacting with your consumers on all the touch points. And now it's really just like, how do you build a community around Twilio? And then Twilio will just give you more products to offer. So it's community building is huge. And, experience marketing and swag and all these types of things are tools that help you build that community around your brand.
Yeah, no question. It's going to continue to evolve, right? It's only going to continue to grow.
Yep, for sure. Well, I think with that, let's jump into some questions. I know, Lewis, I think, are you still on here? If you're still on here, feel free to jump in. You had a few questions in the chat, but then also anybody else that wants to jump in, feel free to either raise your hand or throw it in the chat, or you can just jump in and interrupt us all. That's fine too.
Hello, Louis Santazana here from Crown in Seattle. I've been a SwagUp follower for a while, and so it's cool to hear the news about this team up, and really impressive presentation here. I love the idea. My question was pretty simple and basic. I was just wondering, like, how quickly the turnarounds from what's from the assets provided are available for to be ordered or sent. Like, once we change that logo, how quickly can that be? Is it like instantaneously activated, or is like takes like a couple days before that can be?
Well, so
assigned?
First off, thanks for the question, for joining. I mean, a lot of the postal marketplace options that are unbranded, I think, are available instantaneously in their platform. When it comes to the stuff that comes from SwagUp, it takes time to produce. Typically, it's I would say about 3 weeks to have inventory available in their platform. But you can start setting up the triggers and playbooks and automations in the meantime. It's just that once that inventory hits, then it's available to actually start. Right, Ben? If you feel free to jump in on your side, but it's about 3 weeks production on our side.
Yeah, once you produce the items, customize the items through Michael and his team, and the items come into the warehouse, then it's instantaneous, right? You have 200 items that are in inventory. You can instantaneously send them anywhere you want, and they'll be there within a week.
Okay.
Or you can set it up.
That's pretty much the same as the SwagUp process. It's just getting it into your system. Then that is the
exactly.
the
Now
add-on.
you can take the power of like how easy it is for us to build out these things in inventory and fulfill globally, and then plug it into Ben and Postal side to create different automations and integrate them into like outreach and sales off and HubSpot in ways that we don't do currently.
Yeah. Awesome. Is that so? It sounds like that's you're doing that off like an inventory based model where you warehouse that stuff, as opposed to maybe like the print on demand kind of possibility. Is that a future option?
Yeah, I mean, both on our side, we'll get into print on demand eventually. The thing is, and I'm sure Ben might have a thought on it too about getting into that too. But on our side, we've always felt that the print on demand options out there available now are very low quality and very restrictive in terms of the selection and what you can do with them. So it's kind of like you have to take it a step further and build out a different model where you can start to offer better quality items. And we do it a little bit with some of our top clients where we allow them to do some sort of print on demand. But until, there's still so much to do and just like these integrations and building up our process in the way that, big companies are okay doing inventory. Like we already have a ton of companies willing to do the inventory where we haven't taken the time to like go into on demand and figure that side of the business out yet, because it's very tricky, because we don't want to just offer, digitally printed t-shirts from like Printful or something that we feel like are kind of crappy quality and they're super expensive and they take a while and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get there eventually. But I see the value in it especially from a personalization standpoint, just being able to be more nimble and flexible. It's just it's a lot harder problem to solve.
Cool.
Yeah, we do it on our site. We do it with direct mail, right? So you can build a piece of direct mail. You can build a bifold, trifold, no card, a postcard. We have really cool tooling that allows you to do it really quickly with any creative that you want and send it out, in minutes.
That's awesome, man. I think that direct mail side of it is, that's just a 1-2 punch between the swag and the mail. That's you've got a killer idea here.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
And first off, the Postal people are just awesome to work with. Like, there's a lot of companies that come to want to partner with us, and we're already obviously super busy. We have a lot of clients, but so you can't always prioritize every partnership. But their team is just, they're very in simpatico with like our mindset and mentality, and the growth mindset. Let's all help each other. They're just good people in business. So we wouldn't have done a partnership with a company like them if we didn't feel like that their intent's in the right place and that they're just a good, solid group of people. So
that's good to mutual. Yeah.
Well, awesome.
It's a huge part of the partnership, not only with and any company that we partner with, the people are a huge part of it. So we feel the same way.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking my question. I'm going to email Tara about pitching our social media creative services to you guys. We're a creative agency here in Seattle. We'll just have to do a little pitch for ourselves.
No, let's have the conversation. Tara will love speaking with you about it, and I'll jump in too.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Matt, you're up next. You have a question around how often new products and options are getting added, right? See if he's still in here. Matt, you want to jump in, or
I see his face there.
Yeah. We can answer it for him anyway, if he's still on. But his question was around how often new products and options get added to the catalog. So I know our answer, but Ben, from your side, like how often are you guys updating the marketplace and onboarding new partners?
Almost daily. So we are we're adding new vendors literally daily. We added a new one yesterday. We have a form on our site for companies that want to become vendors. They can submit a form to us. We'll get out to them in 24 hours. We've set up a process where it's very simple. Hey, Matt, I see you. We set up a process where, even if you don't have the technical capabilities, we can set up an integration via email that is totally scalable. So, we want to add a ton more vendors, and the vendor piece is a huge piece to us. We want to make sure that we're partnering with really great vendors and helping them grow. We have there's a company that we compete with in a lot of different ways that works with a bunch of vendors, and they want all of the vendors that they work with to be exclusive to their platform. And I think that's crazy. I want the vendors that we work with, I don't want them to be tied to us like that. I want them to be able to use us as a channel where they can, especially in this time, sell to people across the country in ways that they didn't know how to prior.
Because a lot of them are small businesses in a sense too.
Totally.
They're not huge.
And Ben, how do you go about becoming a vendor? Is that
yeah, it's the other side of my it's the other side of my team. If you're interested, let me know. Shoot me a note. But there's if you go to our site, there's a form. Just fill it out, and we'll reach out again within a day, and we could set something up really quickly.
Yeah, and then on our side, we're much less of a marketplace. We're more a highly curated type of selection of branded merchandise. So we're constantly testing out different products and different brands, and we try to strike up partnerships with like retail brands and get some like unique inventory that other companies can't. And just always looking at like what are high quality products that people are actually going to use and want. And I think that's been a big shift in like swag over the last few years. Is it's not just your generic crappy t-shirt or generic thing that nobody's ever going to use that just gets thrown out. I think this industry has been synonymous with like waste for a long time. And for us, it's much more about like, what are a few thoughtful things that people are actually going to really want? And it doesn't have to be a $200 Arc'teryx jacket, but even like if it's the bottle, like, using brands like Welly, for example, that are made out of bamboo and they have a story behind them. So, stuff like that, just always curating and finding new products. And, likewise, on a daily or weekly basis, we're making little adjustments that you may or may not see, but always trying to find stuff. But the balance for us that's difficult is like, how do you find really awesome, interesting items, but at the same time, they have to be really scalable and easy to work with and have a lot of visibility into like inventory levels and all that kind of stuff, or else it becomes difficult to like offer that to thousands of companies.
So follow-up question on that is, does everything have to be branded? So for example, I'm working with a company that has like a natural energy brain stimulant, right? So they have these like little, kind of, it's actually called Cherry Bomb, like BO2 MB, but so there's that, and then there's like patchet, like sachets, right? Like little individual kind of cases. So those ones could actually be branded, right? Because they can show up just white labeled. But is it something that is required to be branded versus like, I'm thinking of it from you're talking before, Ben, about like a employee, right? Like an employee pack to get started. Well, this stuff gives you like, it jacks your energy up. Like I basically take it first thing in the morning and you don't need coffee kind of thing, right? Like you're right until the afternoon for sure. So like those types of things where it's still a unique thing. It's a little bit different, but it's not, it's not branded necessarily to a company, or does it need to be?
Yeah. No, not everything in our marketplace is branded at all. I would say most of the items are not. We lean on the SwagUp team for the branded items for the most part.
Yeah. If you wanted some sort of like hybrid approach where you have that item that's unbranded, obviously if you're just sending that, it's very simple. Just get that integrated into the postal marketplace. But let's say you had a client or something that wanted to send, a new hire kit with the different items plus the energy drink. We allow third-party items to be sent into our fulfillment center, so you can put it in conjunction with branded or unbranded items. We also sell, like when we're putting together these kits and packs, there's people that do hot chocolate and candy bars and stuff like that that's unbranded. So we've done energy drinks in packs before. I think Walmart actually did Bang energy drinks in packs for some fulfillment stuff. So.
I don't want to hog all the screen time. I put another question, Ben, about potential like golden eggs for your triggers. Like you're saying kind of like the opportunity to kind of have things that are triggered. I'm just curious from, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ready Player One, kind of the hidden steps that would need to be done in order to kind of launch something or release, kind of a special package or whatever, right?
I'm working on stuff like that now, like really creative, again, personalized stuff like that, and having a section for it in the marketplace. I'd love to talk to you about it, Matt.
Yeah, cool. All right, thanks.
Cool, thanks. Matt. Penny, you had a question real quick about, you've had a SwagUp account with us since January. Does this mean I should place orders with Postal directly moving forward? So no matter whether you're integrated with Postal or not, the ordering process of the swag always happens on the SwagUp side, and then it's just a matter of integrating that inventory and your account on our side with the Postal account so that it shows up. So basically, if you have a need for taking that inventory and be able to come up with like really cool automations and workflows with different software platforms like Salesforce and Marketo and HubSpot and all these types of things, or even from a employee side, you can utilize their platform and do that. And then also, if you want to start doing these campaigns in conjunction with like some other items, like if you want to set them up in a stage where they get the new hire box, and then 1 month in on their 1 month anniversary, they get a box of cookies or something like that. If you want to get creative about those types of workflows, then definitely check out the Postal side and Postal team. But basically, you still place the orders on our side when it comes to the swag part of it. Okay. Cool. Any other questions? I know it's already been over an hour, and I'm sure everybody's getting back to work. So if anyone has any other questions, feel free to follow up with us. We'll send a follow-up email with the recording as well as some more information. If you want to get a demo of Postal, feel free to reach out to either of us, and we can get it set up. Or if you're a SwagUp client of ours and want to figure out how you can integrate SwagUp into Postal and start running these campaigns, then just reach out. But other than that, Ben, it's been awesome. Always enjoyed talking with you. Anything else you wanted to add to the conversation?
No, this is great. I really appreciate it, Michael. Great talking to you. You have an amazing team over there. I see Rachel is on the chat there and listening in. Hey, Rachel.
I don't know if that's Rachel or a Rachel bot. She's just like, automated.
Oh, all right. Well,
no, I'm just kidding. It's her.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe Rachel is just, I've talked to her. I think she's a real person, but you never know. But we really appreciate it.
Everything here. So,
and we certainly appreciate the partnership. You guys are great to work with.
Likewise. Awesome. Well, with that, we'll end it here. Thanks everyone for showing up, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, guys.
See you. Bye.
This podcast was brought to you by SwagUp. For any further information, visit swagup.com.